In this video, we will be educating you as to how you can move to Australia if you've got a skill. Hello, everyone. It's a brand new day, a brand new topic. It's your one and only Waka Waka Doctor here. People call me WD, and I love the ring to that. You know that when it comes to moving abroad, this is where you want to be. This is the channel that provides you with all the information with moving abroad, irrespective of the route you want to take, whether it's through the academic pathway or through your job and career opportunities, as well as the permanent residency route. This is the page you need to be. Please feel free to share this video to as many people as possible because they're going to need it. Subscribe if you're just coming here as a first-time watcher and listener. Please do that. And for those who've always been here watching me, thank you so much. I like to put out this information before I dive right into the information of the day to say that, number one, I am not on Telegram or WhatsApp. You will never find me on any of those channels. So if you see anyone sending you messages, it is not me. The only way to reach out to me is in the comment section of this video. Sorry, not the comment section. It's in the description box of this video. That's how you'll be able to get to me. Number two is that I wrote a book a few months ago that's titled Move Abroad by Force. And this book is one that would enable you move abroad on your own without needing the help of an agent. It's very affordable, very small book. You can read it on your own, and it describes all the several pathways. Whether you want to move abroad without a degree, you're looking for jobs abroad, you are looking to go to the cheap schools, everything is in the book and describes a step-by-step process. So you can get the book. The link for the book is in the description box of this video. All right, that aside, let's get to the gist, the sweet one that you're looking for. Look, I've always told people that Australia is the truth. Australia is the truth. And just like Canada, Australia has over 60, 70 pathways that you can use to move to Australia. In this video, we will be educating you as to how you can move to Australia if you've got a skill. You don't need to pay tons of money to agents. You don't need to pay a lot of money paying school fees in Australia because Australia is very expensive. But if you got a skill, then you can move to Australia because Australia is the truth. And like always, I bring someone who lives in the country, who has experience, vast experience, to come and share this knowledge so that it's not as if, oh, it's WD that is telling you people all these things. You hear from people who live in these countries and you'll be able to do it on your own. So let me invite my guests to do a brief introduction of themselves. They'll tell us where they are and they'll tell us what they do. How are you, sir? Thank you very much for tuning in and joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayotunde. I'm popularly called ATM, and I currently live in Adelaide, Australia, and I've been here since 2019. So just 4 years here in Down Under. And I came in here on a skilled visa, and I've been helping people to get to Australia through the same skilled visa. So I think that's
ATM. That's an amazing nickname, ATM. And you moved to Australia through this pathway we're about to discuss, the skilled migration pathway. If you've got a skill, it's an amazing one you want to take a hold of. So I'm going to be doing a lot of listening and jotting down myself as well as the audience. Do you want to share with us? Tell us, what exactly is this skilled migration pathway? What is the eligibility criteria? What's the process involved? What are the requirements so that people can get to know?
Okay, so like you said, Australia has a lot of pathways, and this is one good opportunity that you can do on your own, and you don't need an employer to run the process for you. You just need to have a particular skill that they are looking for. And currently we have a skilled occupation list that has about 504, if I'm not mistaken, 504 occupations on that list. And so most people usually are able to find their occupation on the list. And I'll just run through the entire process. So the first thing you need to do is to find an occupation that aligns to what you studied or what you're currently doing. Because I've seen a lot of people study something in the university or in a tertiary institution, and they're now doing something else. So there could be an option for you in that aspect. So the first thing you need to do, identify your occupation that you can nominate. The next thing is to go through the assessing authority for that occupation to know what their requirements are. So with Canada, for example, Canada has just one, like you have ICAS or West that does the entire assessment. In Australia, it's different. The assessment is done per occupation. So, and the assessing body for teachers is different from the assessing body for engineers. So each occupation has their own specific assessing authority. So, and they have different requirements. So some require English tests, while some assessing authority do not require English tests. But this process requires English tests, no matter what. Whether you do it at the assessment stage or when you want to lodge an expression of interest, which is generally the pool, you need to have an English test to join if you are holding a green passport, that's if you have a Nigerian passport, or if you have any other African passport, or as long as you don't have, if you have UK, US, Canada, or Ireland passport, or New Zealand passport, you are exempted. But if you have any other passport apart from those 5, you still need to write the English test. So when you have identified the occupation and you visit the website of the assessing authority for this occupation, you will see all their requirements. Some of them require you to have basic documents like employment letter, that's your contract. They want you to have a reference letter discussing what you do, your job title, your job description, the date you have joined, and etc. Some will require you to have pay slips and bank statement to show your salary, just to be sure that you actually do what you said you do. Then some require you to have pension and or tax. So you need to have pension or tax statement as well. So that is those 2 documents, either of the 2 are very, very key. Now, when you have assessed the requirement and you think you are eligible or you feel you are eligible, you meet the requirement, the next thing is to put in for your application with this assessing authority. Then you wait for the result to be released to you. So they have different timelines. Some of my videos I've talked about it where people have been moving from Canada, US, and UK to Australia. So the influx has increased. So the timelines for each of these assessing authorities have gone up as well. And COVID also caused the increase too. So some of them also have options for priority processing. You pay more and they fast track your assessment. They get it out in like 2 weeks or 2 days, or instead of you waiting. So if you have the funds, some people go for priority. Then when you have gotten a positive assessment from the assessing authority, you would need your English result. So when you have the English test in Australia is broken down into 3 stages. So we are all 5, but I'll just talk about the 3, which are the most common one, which is the competent English, the proficient English, and the superior English. So competent English means you have IELTS, you have minimum of 6 in your IELTS. So one thing you should note that I want everyone to note is Australia does not work with overall scores. In English tests, they work with your least score. So you need to have, so minimum of 6 means if you have anything less than 6, it's not technically useful. So minimum of 6 will give you 0 points. Minimum of 7 in IELTS, for example, will give you 10 points, while minimum of 8 in each of the band will give you 20 points. Most of us that came to Australia went through PTE, which is Pearson test of English. We did not do, most of us did not do IELTS, because to get 8 in writing, for example, in IELTS is a tug of war. So most of us went through PTE. PTE is an online test as well. It's like IELTS. And you can get 20 points. Most of us have gotten 20, but I got 20 points from PTE, and it's about 79 over 90. That is the score. So you need a minimum of 79 for PTE. So if you have either of those points, and then they also give points to your age, they give point to age, they give point to your degree, they give point to your experience. So if you do an assessment and your assessing authority says, oh, you submitted 7 years experience to us, but we think 6 years relate to what you actually know, the occupation you nominate. 6 points, 6 years experience is technically 10 points. So there's a point calculator. You can just Google that online. Just put it on your Google straight now. Points calculator Australia. You will see the option on the IMI website, and you can do your calculation. You can calculate your points, your degree. If you have a PhD, you have more points. BSc and Masters, same point. HND and ND, same point, different from BSc and Masters. So each of those age has points. So if you are less than 33 years, you have 30 points. But if you are over 33 to 39, you get 25 points. And if you are over 40, you get 15 points. So the more points or the more your age, your point drops, but you can compensate for that in your experience. So if you have 39 years, for example, and you have about 10 years experience, so instead of you lose point on age, but you gain it from your experience with 15 points if you have more than 8 years experience. So the point calculator will give you all those parameters. So your English points, then if you are single, fantastic. Single people, you get free 10 points for being single, but no problem. But the concern is that you cannot get married until after you get your visa approved. So if you tell them that you're single when you're getting nomination, you cannot get married until after you have landed in Australia. So your status cannot change because they don't want you to claim point and get married, and so they feel it's more of cheating the process. So you cannot do that. If you're married, you can also claim the same 10 points. However, your partner needs to write English test, which will give them 5 points, and they also need to do skills assessment. So most people who are married don't usually do they just get their partner to do the English test and just get 5 points, because paying for extra assessment, it's a lot of money as well. So they just go with the extra 5 points instead of getting 10 points. But if you are single, you get your 10 points automatically. So when you have gotten a positive assessment and your English test, the next thing is to lodge an expression of interest. It's called EOI. That's what we do. We call it EOI. EOI means you are getting into the pool. I'm sure most people will probably have joined Canada. You probably understand when you say pool, everyone is lodging. That is where everyone puts in their application. Then we now have different visa that can now come through. So I'll just backtrack a bit. The skilled visa, the common ones, we have 3 major visa: 189, 190, and 491. So Australia uses 3-digit code for all their visa subclasses. So 189 is a federal PR. When you get 189, it means you become a permanent resident the day your visa is approved. And that means you can live anywhere in Australia. You get Medicare, you get all the benefit of a permanent residence when you land in Australia. The second visa is 190. This is also a PR, is a permanent resident visa. The only difference with this one is that it is a state in Australia that will nominate you. Currently, Australia has 8 states and territories. Either of these states can nominate you. So when they nominate you for 190, that means you are a permanent resident. You are required to live in that state for 3 years, minimum of 2 years. And some of us, we came straight to the states that nominated us, and we have not left 4 years after we are still here. So you generally need to live here for 2 years, but you can live anywhere. Of course, you are a permanent resident. The last category is 491, is a temporary visa. It's not a permanent resident visa. This is this is the most common one. This is where most people get, especially because of the points. Especially if you are older, most people are not able to get enough points to get 189, 190. So you can get the 491 visa, which is a temporary visa. This visa still gives you Medicare for free, and you get other benefits as well, because you're technically not a student or any of those, you're not a visitor. So you have the temporary visa and you have a pathway to permanent residence after 3 years. I just did a video on that recently on the pathway from 491 to 191. So those 3 visas, 189, 190, and 491, you lodge your expression of interest and you select those 3. There are some occupations that you don't have options of the 3. So When you look at the occupation list, like I said earlier, you will see the assessing body for your occupation. You will see the visas that you can apply for. So some occupation, for example, my occupation, while I was in Nigeria, I worked in a bank and I assessed as a customer experience manager. My job could only go for 190 and 489 as at that time. So 491 is a new visa that was introduced in November 2019. So that's just the way. So your occupation will tell you the visa that you can apply for. So if your occupation has the three options, 189, 190, 491, locked to you, that means put in for those three options, any one of them can come through for you. If your occupation is only for 190 and 491, do the same as well. So when you lodge an expression of interest, you will select the visa that you can apply for, and they will tell you, you'll see your points, because you need a minimum of 65 points to get a nomination, whether it is 189, 190, or 491. So when you lodge that expression of interest, if you think you want 189, you can leave it as it is. The federal government will do a general draw and they will send you an invitation. This is not, for me, I would say this is not the best approach, because the federal government, it's like they wake up one day and just send invitation to like 30,000 people. So it's not consistent, like for example, Canada, where you know that probably every 2 weeks or every month there is a draw. In Australia, it used to be very consistent, but since COVID happened, is no longer consistent. So they can just wake up and send this week, and they will not send until another 3 months or another 2 months. So 189, put it there, keep it, you may get it. 190 is the state, and 491 is also a state nominated temporary visa as well. So what you need to do is, as soon as you lodge the EOI, you need to go straight to the state's website. So each of those states, the 8 states I mentioned, they have their migration website. Go through the website, then analyze what their requirement for nomination is.
Let
so
me
some
just
of them
take this opportunity to tell people that are watching to say that all the links that are required will be in the description box of this video. So you do not need to go on Google. We would help you. We'll put all the links that you need.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so when you have the state's website, which I'll share the link, you will be able to just read through the website and understand their requirement. When you see the requirement, usually they will request that you write a statement just to show why you are choosing them. And some of them can be very jealous. So I usually tell people, when you lodge an expression of interest in the pool, create multiple expression of interest. So if you select New South Wales, for example, which is one of the states in Australia, select New South Wales on that EOI, create another EOI and select South Australia, for example. So don't put all of them, because when they see that you are nominating other states, they are jealous. Like, no, we are not giving this person nomination because we feel like you are going to probably go to another state. So create different ones for each state, and let them think you are nominating only them. So when you're done with the nomination process, you lodge a registration of interest with the state, telling them that you want to come in. Each state would also they also have a list. So your occupation is on the federal list, but it's not on a particular state list. So I remember then when I did my nomination, out of the 8 states, it was only 5 states that was nominating my occupation. And I was only able to meet 2 states, their requirement for my occupation at that time. So I was only able to meet 2 of them, and I applied to one. And in 21 days after, I got my nomination. So each state, they've streamlined their process to make it easy. So just read through their website. When they're open, they will tell you the occupations they're nominating for that period and the requirement. Sometimes they'll tell you is the point, or they'll tell you is the English score that they want. So even if you have a good score, but your English score is not great, they will tell you no. And some occupations are very easy to get. So if you are a hairdresser, you're a tiler, a plumber, electrician, electrical engineer, technician, all those trade roles, or what we call them in Nigeria artisans role occupations. like those are the occupations that they usually get easily. I've seen a few people that they even studied like electrical engineering, for example, but instead of them assessing as an electrical engineer, they assess as an electrical engineering technician. You get nomination faster if you go that way than waiting for an electrical engineer, because everyone all over the world, we have a lot of electrical engineers than more of the technicians. So so those are just one of those tricks that you can use to get nomination faster. And the best part is whatever you want to do when you get to Australia is not dependent on what you assessed. I assessed as a customer service manager when I was moving to Australia. I did that when I got here for a while, but now I'm an IT manager. I do IT consulting now. So you can switch your roles. You don't have to stick to whatever you studied. As long as you get the moment you get the visa, you can do whatever you like. So when you have lodged there.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, so you wanted to say something about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that's an amazing tip, to say that you don't necessarily need to, work as the visa you got, you can get to Australia and work at something else. Just make sure it's closely related, correct?
Yeah, no, it's up to you. It doesn't have to be closely related.
Okay.
It's up to you. I've seen a few people that have changed their careers because they're tired of what they were doing before. And sometimes you don't even want to change the career. For example, if you're a medical doctor, to become a medical doctor in this country, of course, is not easy, because the rules, the laws are totally different. So they still have to go through some exams. So while people are waiting for that, they can do some other jobs as well. So you are not stuck on, you have to do whatever that brought you in. So
let me ask you, while you're here, before we move on to the final part of this discussion, how can people find you on social media? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter? How can people find you?
Okay, so I'm on YouTube, Australia Pathfinder, and I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook as Australia Pathfinder. That is the name that I have. So Australia Pathfinder anywhere on social media,
So
Twitter.
is it one word, Australia Pathfinder?
Yeah, if you search for it on Instagram, it's not one word. There is a space between the Australian Pathfinder.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not one word. It's two
Fantastic.
words.
I need to ask you several other questions. Number one, to say that would people be allowed to come with dependents using this pathway? I know we don't have a lot of time left because we want to give as much information as possible. Will people be able to bring in dependents when they come in? And secondly, what's the proof of funds required? Are proof of funds required in this process?
Okay, so I'll start with the dependent. Yes, it's Australia wants family, so you can bring in your family. Everyone, kids, and your partner. Sure, even if you are not married and you have a de facto relationship, like they call it here, like you are living lovers. You live together, but you're not married officially. You can still bring them in with kids and all that. So yes, family, you can add them to your application. And the second part, which is POF, the best part is Australia does not need POF. So, but the second part is there is also POF required, but only, so the states, some states require POF, they just want to see that you can take care of yourself when you get here. And currently, out of the 8 states, only 1 state require POF. So people avoid the states. You can still go over the state.
Don't need to mention the states.
I've mentioned the states in some of my videos, but yeah, the other states, people just go straight to them and just ignore those ones. But if you have the funds, you can go with them. It's one of the most beautiful states in the country. So and you cannot, when you want to move here, you can always move there as well, as long as you have your visa. So POF not required. You just need to have your money for the visa fee and assessment and all that, and you are good to go.
All right, amazing. Any final words in 60 seconds? Any final words for people who are watching and want to move to Australia using this pathway?
Yeah, so I would say it's not cheap, but it's a better option than going through the student route, because when you're done with student route, you still come back to the same process. So if you can start it now, why not just do it? So, and don't waste time. Everyone is trying to jackpot, and this is time to, because the process will keep getting better. So you have to wake up when you need to and just do it when you need to do it. So that is just
amazing.
that
I
is my
always tell
conclusion.
people that the best time to act is now. The second best time
Correct.
to act is now. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the best time we're giving you this information. If you've got a skill, you can move to Australia. I've always said it, Australia is the truth. And I'm also considering moving to Australia. I've got a couple of friends there who want me to move down to Australia. So it's a tug of war between Australia and Canada at the moment. We'll decide when the time
No, you will
right.
love Australia more. Do you want me to tell you why? The weather is better. We pay more.
We pay,
So
yeah. I know you pay more for
yeah.
sure. I know you pay
So we
more.
are the second highest
Yeah,
country that pays the highest in the world.
I know. Yeah, I know. Well, thank you very much for coming and sharing with my audience and my travel community. I'm hoping that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people will make the best use of this information and take a leap of faith and find their way to Australia. So guys, there you go. It's Australian time. Thank you very much for watching. Till I see you again on another video, another travel talk. It's your one and only Waka Waka Doctor, and I'm signing out.